Every language model has a knowledge cutoff. Ask it about today's weather, this morning's news, or a price that changes by the hour, and it guesses, often confidently and wrong. Grounding with Bing fixes that. Your agent runs a real web search and answers from live results, with citations. In this deep dive, we explain what grounding is, why it needs a connection in Azure, the prerequisites to set that up, every line of code including a subtle required header, and the pitfalls so your agent can be current to the minute. The concept. Grounding with Bing Search is a tool, like Code Interpreter or File Search, but instead of running code or searching your files, it issues a real Bing web query on the agent's behalf, retrieves results, and gives them to the model as context. The model then answers from those live results and cites the pages it used. It is retrieval augmented generation again, but the knowledge source is the public web instead of your documents. That makes it ideal for current events, fast-moving facts, and anything past the model's training date. One thing that is different here, the Bing tool does not take an API key directly in code. Instead, in Azure AI Foundry, you create a connection, a stored, governed link to the grounding with Bing resource, and your agent references it by name. This is how Foundry centralizes credentials. The key lives in the connection, managed by your project, not scattered through your scripts. Your code just looks the connection up by name and gets back an identifier to hand to the tool. It is more setup, but far cleaner and safer for a team. Our flow, then, is 1. Create a grounding with Bing resource and add it as a connection in Foundry. 2. In code, look up that connection to get its identifier. 3. Build the Bing tool from that identifier and attach it to a new agent. Vars, ask a question about something current. The agent searches Bing, reads the results, and answers with citations. Same thread, message, run pattern as every agent. The only new parts are the connection lookup and one required header. Setup first. In the Azure portal, create a grounding with Bing search resource. Then in the Foundry portal, add it to your project as a connection and note the connection name. Then the usual environment variables, your project connection string, plus the connection name you just chose. Install the same two packages. Note that grounding with Bing has its own pricing and terms of use, so review those before you ship. In code, we create the project client as always, then look up the Bing connection by the name we set. The returned connection object has an identifier, and that identifier is the link between your agent and the Bing service. We build the Bing grounding tool from it. This indirection is the whole point. The actual Bing key never appears in your script. It stays safely inside the Foundry connection, and your code only ever handles a reference to it. We create the agent on GP4o, a capable model for synthesizing search results, with the Bing tool's definitions. Now the subtle part that trips everyone up. The header's argument with XMS enable preview set to true. Grounding with Bing is a preview feature today, and that header opts the request into it. Leave it off and the tool simply will not activate. The agent will answer from training data and you will wonder why it is not searching. So this one line is mandatory for now. Now we ask something only the live web would know. Today's weather in Seattle. It is the same pattern. Open a thread, add the user message, start a run with create and process run, then list the messages. But during that run, behind the scenes, the agent formulates a Bing query. The service executes the real search, and the results flow back into the model before it answers. The model is no longer guessing. It is reading current pages. Read the response and two things stand out. The facts are current, pulled from the live web at the moment you asked, not from a months-old training set. And the answer carries citations, references back to the specific pages being returned, which you can surface to the user as links. That is the entire value, the difference between a confident hallucination and a sourced, verifiable answer. for any question whose answer changes over time. This is how you keep an agent trustworthy. It is worth pausing on when to reach for this versus the file search tool we covered separately, because they solve different problems and you will often combine them. File search grounds the model in your own private documents, a handbook, a contract, a product catalog, content the web has never seen. Bing grounds it in the public, live web, news, prices, weather, anything current. If the answer lives in your files, use file search. If it changes by the hour or lives out on the internet, use Bing. And a real assistant can carry both tools at once, choosing whichever fits the question. Your documents for the private facts, the web for the fresh ones. The practical notes. First, that preview header. If Bing seems ignored, this is almost always why, and the requirement may change as the feature goes to general availability. So check the docs. Second, cost and compliance. Grounding with Bing is built separately and has usage terms, including how you must display its results and citations. Read them before production. Third, latency. A real web search adds time to each run, so set user expectations. And as always, delete the agents you create while experimenting, and reuse one connection rather than recreating it. That is a web-grounded agent, current to the minute, with sources. The full sample is in the Azure AI Samples repo, under Scenarios, Agents, Samples, Bing Search, linked below with the exact path. Swap in your own connection and your own questions, and your agent can answer about today. Subscribe for the rest of the Azure AI Agent series, and go build it. If this helped, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.